Hi guys! Our beautiful house on a hill is in its final stages. Every day I come to the market to meet potential buyers for the home we're so proud of. It's time to share some of the challenges we face to get to this point. Those are budgeting and agreeing on terms. If you're interested in viewing a house on a slope and potentially buying it, leave a comment down below. I would love to meet you personally and give you a tour of this beautiful house. It just might be your dream home. As you know, there are houses on flat zones and then there are houses on slopes. This house is built on a slope. For a house like this, you have a lot of steps to go through for basement construction alone. Let's just walk through what the three main stages of building the basement are. They're preparation, pouring, and post-preparation with waterproofing. For a flat plot, the preparation step, which we also call ground grinding, takes very little time. It also only costs about $3,000. For the slope we did, it took way longer to prepare. But the real heartbreak is that we spent a lot of money, about $20,000. Take a second to think about the huge difference between $3,000 and $20,000. You may also compare the time frame, 1 week versus 1 day. After the ground grinding is complete, you'll move on with the basement form preparation. It will take 1 or 2 weeks on a flat plot, and you'll have to pay your contractors $20,000 to $25,000 for a house of 2,500 square feet. But for our house on a slope here, it took 3 months and $130,000 to pay the contractors for the same basement preparation step. All around, this was not a walk in the park. We had to spend more money, time, energy, effort, and experience. Construction is a lot more complicated with a slope. We divided this house's construction into 3 stages because of the slope we were working with. We had to pour the first floor and build a retaining wall first. Then we had to pour the second floor, add in the next retaining wall, and finally, after all that, we poured the third floor. Building a house on a slope is super complicated, and you need special knowledge in order to do it. That's how you know we're extremely talented. Let's talk about one more thing we do that flat plot owners aren't used to. When you do a slab on a flat plot, you're probably not worried about waterproofing and drainage. But for a house on a slope, you absolutely have to think about those things. The walls, the basement, and the retaining wall all need to be waterproof, so you don't end up with an unwanted swimming pool in your house. You also have to implement a French drain to lead the water coming from the slope under the house. I can't stress this enough. Drainage and waterproofing are so incredibly important for houses like this one. We spent $20,000 to prevent water from coming into this house. Just one more way that slopes make a dent in your wallet. You're really going to want to listen to a calming meditation before you start budgeting for a project like this. One more thing that everybody likes here in Texas is limestone. We have it available here on the plot after preparation works have been done. See? It's a white stone that we extracted during the preparation process. We've got plenty if you want to buy some. Pay attention to what the ground is like on the plot you buy. If it's stony, you'll end up spending a lot of money on the special equipment it takes to get the ground ready for construction. You need to rent special vehicles to transport the stones, too. That kind of work is not for the faint of heart, or for those of us working on a budget. We're still trying to figure out how we want to transport some of the huge rocks from this site. Of course, you can use them for the landscape if you want to, or you can sell them to other constructors who need to fill in a niche. But overall, it will take additional expenses to fragment, extract, and transport stone from the plot if you don't need it. These expenses vary from $1,000 to $10,000 and depend on the volume of the stone you extract from the pit when you're preparing for basement construction. What really makes the difference from you spending $1,000 to $10,000 or even $20,000 is that no 2 plots are the same. This one, for example, takes special equipment. To transport the material out of here, you have to leave a vehicle on the road, then bring the stones to it. You can't just drive in the plot with the vehicle. That would be too easy. You pay big money for what, on the surface, looks like a really easy task. It can be frustrating, but remind yourself what the end result will be. Again, we're talking about a lot of money and a lot of hard work. I came face to face with this problem for the first time recently, and I was blindsided. I'd never heard about it before. That's why I'm sharing it with you, so you don't goof up like I did. We've got 3 more surprising challenges to tell you about though. The first one is contractors. It's really difficult to find contractors who can build houses on slopes with large basements. Local contractors usually don't want to take on this kind of a job. It took us several months to find contractors who were ready to tackle our project. The next struggle is equipment. It takes special equipment to build high retaining walls. You can't use wood planks, though that would certainly be cheaper. You can see here that there are some fixing elements on the wall. They were left behind from special equipment called wall shields. These shields are placed on both sides of the retaining wall and joined with this part. You can't do this with planks, so you'll have to spend more time and money on it. Another moment to think about is when you finish the basement and need to cover it. You can't just leave the open part of the basement as is. Cover it with stucco or aluminum panels to give it a nicer appearance, but keep in mind, this takes more time and more money. One more surprise that you'll spend money on is scaffolding. You need it to finish the walls. For a house with a usual slab of 3 feet, you're not going to need high and expensive scaffolding. For basements 10 feet and higher though, you'll end up having to order a special scaffold. For example, we considered purchasing a $50,000 scaffold for this house, but we were lucky enough to come up with another solution. We bought a much cheaper one, which we can actually use for further construction. Just imagine spending $50,000 to cover your house with a scaffold for several months. That's a colossal expense. I have a stomachache just thinking about it. One more thing. Terms are wicked important in any kind of construction. We built a 2,500 square foot house over the course of 8 to 10 months. That's plenty of time for building a house on a flat plot. For this house, and for another one we did on a slope, we spent extra time on basement construction, and even more time for the frame. Slopes complicate jobs like making a ditch, building a 3-step basement, waterproofing, drainage, and building a frame, but that's a story for another time. I guess at this point you must be asking yourself, why on earth would I want a house on a slope? Truthfully, it's a lot of extra time, labor, and money. You've heard the statistics. But here's why you should consider a house like this one anyway. It's beautiful, has unique landscape and architecture, offers an exceptional view, and will be so satisfying to live in. Picture yourself living here. You can't tell me it's not worth the work.